Jacked Up Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Everybody give Ben Cherington, Bob Nutting, Derek Shelton a giant round of applause. Get your coolers, get your lawn chairs, start the camp out for opening day right now because not to fear, Adam Frazier is here. If you couldn't tell, that is a giant, heaping, hot, steaming bowl of sarcasm. The Pirates sign and bring back Adam Frazier on a one-year major league deal. And to the best of my knowledge, when you look at free agent signings across Major League Baseball now, you see the terms minor league deal and major league deal. And you look at what Adam Frazier put on film in 2024 as a member of the Kansas City Royals. 202, OPS of 576, 4 home runs, was never a big power guy, but only 22 runs batted in, and that's over 100 games. And you see Adam Frazier brought back to the Pirates. You're like, okay, aging player, worst year of his career a year ago, minor league deal, right? No. Major league deal, 1 year for over $1 million and change. Back on the major league roster, and all likely will be a member of the opening day roster in 2025 in Pittsburgh. And it really does beg the question, and I'm going to ask it right now. What are we doing? Hey, Ben. Hey, Bob. Derek, you might be an innocent bystander in all of this right now, but when you start managing the bullpen like crap in April, May, June, and blowing games away, then you'll be at the forefront of this discussion. But from a managerial standpoint, upper management, what are we doing? This team so far this offseason has spent just under $11 million total. And to truly put that in perspective, if you go to SpotTrack.com right now and or Google MLB free agent tracker, and you go to SpotTrack, and you'll see a breakdown of the top guys, and it's usually sorted out by the most lucrative deal, so on and so forth. So Juan Soto to the Mets is obviously at the top of that. Guy almost made $1 billion. At the top of that page, though, you will see total for how many years, like every free agent deal combined, how many years every single one is. It's like 165. The amount of money that's been spent this offseason, I forget it off the top of my head, but it's ridiculous. But the average AAV, average annual value for every free agent signing this offseason is just over $17 million per year. That's for one deal. The average annual value of every deal signed this offseason in Major League Baseball is over $17 million. The Pirates have signed 4 guys and have spent $10.5 million. Their average annual value is almost $15 million below the league average. $2.68 million is the Pirates' average annual value spent per free agent this offseason. It is pathetic. It is ridiculous. It is preposterous when you break it down by the amount of money teams in similar financial brackets as Pittsburgh have spent. Team like Baltimore, they've done a pretty damn good job of building up that minor league system. They spent $70 million this offseason. The White Sox, one of the league's worst teams ever last year. They're not breaking the bank by any means, but they're looking at themselves saying, man, we really sucked last year. Let's try to change that a little bit in 2025. They've spent more money than the Pirates this offseason on free agents, over $13 million. The Oakland Athletics, I don't even think I can call them that anymore. They are just the Athletics because they've moved out of Oakland. They're going to go play in Sacramento while their monstrosity of a ballpark in Las Vegas is getting built. So they don't even have a city to call home till like 2028. And they've been terrible. $80.9 million. And it's been a little bit of both. Brent Rooker goes off for them last year, right? Outfielder / DH. A guy that was thrown around by myself on this podcast and radio shows in Pittsburgh and other podcasts, what have you. A guy that was in Pirates trade talks at the deadline last year. Remember that? Remember the Pirates were buyers at the deadline? I do. The A's lock him up long term. So they keep a guy like that in-house. They pay him. And then they go out and spend even more money on a starting pitcher in Luis Severino. Think about the concept of that. Hey, man, we stink and we don't have a city to call home for the next 3 years, but we're going to give you this. That was their pitch. And they're able to sign guys. What makes it so frustrating is the Pirates pitch. One of the most beautiful ballparks in America. Maybe the most beautiful home stadium across Major League Baseball. I'm certainly going to die on that hill and say that. Pittsburgh's a pretty cool city. Pretty affordable city to live in. It's got your luxurious neighborhoods and things of that nature out in the suburbs. And this pitching rotation can get you to where you need to go. I have news for you. Bubba Chandler is going to be really, really good. This time, 6 months from now, I will probably have either somebody that writes for the Pirates or covers the Pirates on this podcast, or I might even be saying it myself, that Bubba Chandler could be in a Rookie of the Year conversation, kind of like how Paul Skeens was. You're going to have that guy. You're going to have Jared Jones. You're going to have Mitch Keller. I think Johan Oviedo could bounce back and have a pretty solid season. He'll probably be in that starting rotation to start the year. Bubba Chandler will probably start in either double or triple A and quickly progress. Bailey Falter, who's been solid. Lefty, changes thing up in the rotation. Oh, and I don't know, the best pitcher in baseball. Again, what is so frustrating about this organization is that if you get there, if you get to a wild card series, by hook or by crook, if the Pirates with Spencer Horwitz and an experiment of O'Neal Cruz out in center field and an aging Brian Reynolds and an aging Andrew McCutchen and Key Brian Hayes with a horrible back and insert crappy middle infielder here. I don't know who's going to be in that lineup come June, July, August. But if somehow, some way that team gets into a postseason, gets into a 3-game wild card series, good luck beating Skeens, Jones, Keller, or Chandler. Good freaking luck. They don't need to score 4 or 5 runs. You might need 1 or 2. And what's so frustrating about the whole situation is it's right there in front of them. It is there for the taking. You're in a bad division in the NL Central. Mind you, team that won the division last year and the team that I think a lot of people might think have a chance to win the division again this year, Milwaukee, they've only spent $900,000 in free agency this year. The Pirates aren't even the lowest of the low. A team in their own division hasn't done much this offseason. You're in a bad division that you were in the midst of taking almost halfway through last season, and one of the division's best teams is doing less than you are to get better in the offseason. And it begs the question again, what are we doing? And the desk probably just shook the camera because I'm fired up, if you can't tell. One might even say I'm jacked up See what I did there? So Adam Frazier comes back to the Pirates. Again, he stunk last year and quite frankly hasn't been very good since he left Pittsburgh or was traded out of Pittsburgh. The back half of 2021 after the Buccos traded him to the Padres, he hit 267 in San Diego, left San Diego, went to Seattle in 2022, hit 238 in Seattle in 22, goes to Baltimore in 2023, hits 240, and last year a career worst 202 in 104 games, 262 at-bats with Kansas City last year. OPS of 576. It's not good. It's not good at all. And according to Baseball Reference, his projection in 2025 is 353 at-bats, a batting average of 230, and 38 RBIs. And unfortunately, that's been par for the course when it comes to middle to back half of Pirates lineups under Derek Shelton. It has been. Rowdy Tellez a season ago, Michael A. Taylor, Daniel Vogelback, like these guys that they've been bringing in to fill out this lineup and complement the Kutches and Reynoldses and Hayes and Cruzes of the world have not been A, highly touted, B, expensive, or C, very productive when they get to Pittsburgh. And I have a hard time believing that a 33-year-old Adam Frazier will channel 30-year-old Adam Frazier or 29-year-old Adam Frazier in 2021 when he was an all-star for the Pirates. It also begs the question, where does he fit in? My suspicion is that Ke'Bryan Hayes and his back are worse off than we'd like them to be at this point. I think that their plan was to have Ke'Bryan Hayes be their third baseman, Jared Triolo be that revolving utility guy, give a spot start at third when Key needs a day off, give a spot start at short when Isaiah Kiner-Falefa needs a day off, same at second base, whether that's Gonzalez, Peguero, somebody else. Now, I fear that Ke'Bryan Hayes is this team's everyday third baseman. It might get to a point where Hayes is almost platooning with Triolo at third, and that leaves the revolving utility role open for a guy like Adam Frazier, because Adam Frazier can play all over the infield. Can even play corner outfield as well. And as I say that out loud, I wonder to myself, is Adam Frazier this team's right fielder next year? Because they have a giant hole there too. You'd have to assume that O'Neal Cruz is going to be the center fielder. I mean, they did that for a reason in the middle of last season when things weren't going their way. Brian Reynolds will be this team's left fielder. You know, Andrew McCutchen can't play the field anymore. He'll be a DH. And before I wrap up here in a couple of minutes, I have a take as far as Kutch is concerned. Who's going to play right field? Henry Davis, John Parado, one of the longest tenured guys on the Pirates beat, heard that Henry Davis wasn't even invited to Pirates Fest. That goes to show you how highly they think of their former number one overall pick, who can't seem to A, catch, or B, hit. B-U-S-T, bust, bust, bust. Josh Palacios was a nice spark plug, a guy that I wouldn't mind being this team's fourth outfielder, but I'm not going to sit here and expect quality results with Josh Palacios as the everyday right fielder. So there's a hole there. And you witnessed an epiphany. You witnessed a aha moment, if you will. We evolve on this show, baby. Is Adam Frazier a solution at right field? because they've got guys in the middle infield that can assume that utility role if really Ke'Bryan Hayes' back is an issue, or if it's not, then that's where Adam Frazier fits in. You've got Liover Peguero in the minor league system. They trade for a guy like Nick York from the Boston Red Sox, who can be that middle infield guy. They have an abundance of middle infielders. So is Adam Frazier a solution in the outfield? I certainly hope not. And for you Pirate fans watching, I would have to imagine that you agree with me. All right, before we call it quits, short episode today. Just had a lot to get off on my chest when it comes to baseball, the Pirates, and we're in a little bit of a downturn. We're going to talk much more about the Super Bowl on next week's episode, leading up to Super Bowl 59, Chiefs, Eagles. You can watch it on Fox 9. So this kind of a transitionary episode before we get into the nuts and bolts of pitchers and catchers reporting and baseball really being here. In perfect timing, right? Adam Frazier coming back. Andrew McCutchen. This might anger a lot of you when I say this, but I'm here to tell you that for people that think like me, it is okay to really wonder if bringing Andrew McCutchen back again is the right move. Now, will Kutch be one of the better offensive players for the Pirates in 2025? You know, if you get even a batting average that's 10, 15 points higher than last year, I hope not. Kutch, an OPS of 740, batting average of 232, the on-base percentage above 300. That doesn't do it for me. And I have a hard time really getting it out of my mouth because, again, I grew up a Pirates fan. I was in middle school and high school when Andrew McCutchen was winning MVPs and this team was going to the playoffs, and they were so fun to watch. Andrew McCutchen has a very soft spot in my Pittsburgh sports loving heart, along with Big Ben, along with Sid the Kid, along with Gino, along with Troy Polamalu, so on and so forth. But at 8 years old, Kutch turned 38 back in October. He'll be 39 this October towards the end of the season. Birthday's what? October 10th. With this rotation, we want this team to be playing on October 10th. Does a 39-year-old Andrew McCutchen do it for you in the postseason? His baseball reference projections are very similar to what he put on in the stat sheet this past year. 235, 16 homers, 50 RBIs. That doesn't get it done for me to be this team's designated hitter. It doesn't. Especially in an offense where power and productivity is few and far between. And I get why they did it, right? Veteran presence in that locker room, beloved figure in the franchise, and he can still, for the most part, play around average Major League Baseball. But again, it is totally okay. I am here to tell you that it is totally okay to question whether or not bringing Andrew McCutchen back at 38 years old in 2025 for his 17th Major League season. It is okay. I promise you it's okay. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope Kutch channels 2019, 2020, 250, 255. I mean, we're talking about a guy whose batting average hasn't been above 260 since the end of his Pirates tenure in 2017. We're talking about a guy whose OPS for a whole season hasn't been above 800 since his Pirates tenure ended in 2017. I apologize. OPS of 834 in 2019, but that was 5 years ago with Philadelphia. Again, it is okay to wonder whether or not Andrew McCutchen in 2025 is right for this franchise. There you have it. Again, coming up next week, we'll talk more on Super Bowl 59. You'll be able to watch it live on Fox 9. It's Eagles and Chiefs, a Super Bowl 57 rematch. Maybe some of you are pissed that the Chiefs are in it again. If you're like me, I am really excited about the idea of witnessing history. A team has never three-peated when it comes to Super Bowl championships. The idea that the Chiefs can do it makes me kind of excited. We'll talk more about the Super Bowl on next week's episode as we get into the month of February, January 2025. In the books. This is Jacked Up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the WTOV News 9 Facebook and YouTube pages. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.